I wanted to start with a thought, a story, maybe kind of sort of a story. Do you have, because I have, I'm not going to name any names to protect the innocent, but do you have um, a friend, uh, maybe a partner, spouse, a relative, a coworker, someone in your life who you just don't trust? You don't trust. They have made you so many promises and they never come through. So this is the friend who says, absolutely, I am going to be there. I'm going to do the thing. And then they never show up. Or the friend who borrows money from you and says, you know what? I will pay you back. Next payday, I promise you, I'm going to pay you back. And they don't. Or the friend who's like, I am going to show up for your thing, your crisis, your whatever. And they're never there. How does that make you feel? How does that make you feel? I'm going to guess you feel let down. You feel frustrated. You might even feel angry. But I'm going to guess in the list of words that you come up with, one of the words is you stop trusting. You stop trusting them. You stop believing anything that comes out of their mouth. You stop trusting. Now, I want to switch that and ask you a question. What kind of friend are you to yourself? What kind of friend are you to yourself? Do you remember back on January 1st when you said, new year, new me, this is my year, it's going to be amazing, I'm going to do all the things? Are you still doing all the things that you said you were going to do, that you said you were committing to on January 1st or whatever day it is that you set your goals? And I wonder what kind of friend you're being to yourself. Because here's the thing, is for most of us, we've eroded our self-trust. We set the goals every year. I have journals upon journals on that shelf where every year I'd write my goals for the year, like new journal, because I don't know, there's something magical about a new year and a new journal. So I'd start a new journal and I'd write my goals. But here was the thing, was that a lot of the time, those goals, I may as well have done a copy paste from the previous year because I hadn't achieved those goals the previous year. But somehow magically, I thought that on January 1st, I don't know, something would change and there I would be. And suddenly I'm going to achieve the goals that I've been writing, the same goals for 3 years. And that's how many of us are. We don't keep our commitments to ourselves. We say we're going to work on our goals. And then it's week 2, week 3 of January. And it's like, oh, I don't know. It's cold and I don't really want to go to the gym. Oh, I don't know, maybe I'll work on my business after I've watched like the latest 6 episodes of whatever it is that you're watching on Netflix. Or, I don't know, like I'm feeling kind of tired today. I'll start tomorrow. No, I'll start on Monday. How many times have we said that to ourselves? And so if we're our own best friend, think about what that does on a subconscious level. Do you trust you? Do you trust your own word to yourself? Are you honoring your commitments to you? Because that's exactly what your goals are. When you wrote your goals down, you're making a commitment to yourself that this is what I'm going to work hard on. This is what I'm committed to for this year. But remember, commitment is not I'm committed when it's convenient, or I'm committed when I feel like it, or I'm committed when I'm motivated. Commitment is no matter what. I've made this promise to myself. We're so great if you're a good friend. If you're a good friend, we're so great at honoring our commitments and our promises to other people. And yet, we're not like that with ourselves. We're not committed to ourselves. We're not committed to honoring ourselves. And so this year, if you've already chosen a word for the year, I'd love to encourage you to add another word to that. And that other word that I'd love for you to add as a goal for this year is to build your self-trust. And how do you build your self-trust? A lot of the times we set ourselves up for failure because we start so big, right? It's like, I'm going to work out an hour every day, 7 days a week. Not going to happen. It's going to be hard for you to stay motivated. And so if I go back to, I started with the fact that I'm a certified habits coach. If I was to tell you about from a habits perspective, how do you start to create the habits? Because ultimately that's how you will get to December 31st and feel proud of yourself for having achieved everything that you wrote down as your goals for this year. How do you do that? It's about writing down your goals so you have your goals. And then I'd love for you to go and ask yourself, what are the habits that you need to create to support those goals? What are the habits? Because oftentimes you just think about the goal, and maybe if you take it a step further, you might think, oh, they have to be SMART. So you've got the whole specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, you've got a time assigned to it. But have you thought about what are the habits that will get you there? Because you've heard me say over and over again, what you have in your life is a reflection of your habits. What you have in your life is a reflection of the things that you do every single day without thinking about it. And you've also heard me say, and that's why, as I said, I'm a habits coach, is you've heard me say that research says, behavioral research says that 90%, 90% of everything that you do in your day is habit-based. You're not even thinking about it. You're operating from a subconscious level. And so if that's the case, how do you leverage that 90% to help you be successful this year when it comes to your goals? And so when it comes to habits, I want to give you a really simple formula for you to think about this. So my mentor, my coach when it comes to habits, is a gentleman named BJ Fogg. And BJ is a doctor. He is the head of behavioral research at Stanford University. And he's been the head of that institute for, I think, about 25 years. So he's been studying behavior for a really long time. And what I've learned from BJ is this, is that all of our behavior, doesn't matter what it is, any behavior that you do is made up of three things. It is a motivation. Are you inspired to do the thing? Do you really want to do the thing? It is A, ability. How hard or how easy is it for you to do the thing? And then it's having P, a prompt, a trigger, a cue to do the behavior. So when you're looking at your goals, I want you to think about, okay, if this is my goal, what are the behaviors that I need to create that will help me achieve my goal? What is my motivation to do it? How inspired am I? How much do I want this goal? Because sometimes we think we should want the goal, but do you really want the goal? Because that's one thing I've learned too about habits is that you can only really create habits for the things you really want to do. The things you really want to do, think about that. And so motivation. Do I really want this goal? How much do I want it? What does it actually mean to me to achieve this goal at the end of the year? And then A, ability. How can I make it easy for myself to do this? How can I make it easier? So if it's, for example, exercise, how can I make it easier? Can I start small? Can I start, instead of having this big goal of an hour every day, can I start with 5 minutes every single day? Or if I want to save more money, is it that I start by saving $5 or $1 instead of aiming for $1,000? And so how can you make it easier for yourself? So ability, you want to make it as easy as possible for you to do the thing. Every behavior that we do, regardless of what it is, and I have been trying to stump my mentor, BJ, because he's challenged us. Tell me a behavior that you do that doesn't have a prompt, that doesn't have a trigger, that doesn't have a cue. It might be a physical reminder, a reminder on your phone. It might be a post-it that you have. It might be time of day. Whatever it is, everything that we do as a behavior has a prompt, a trigger, a cue. And so if it's something that you want to do, how can you build into your day some prompt for you to do the thing? Okay, so that at its simplest is what you need to do, is go back to your goals and look at, okay, these are the goals that I have for this year. And then translate that into what's the behavior that I need to do to be able to achieve this goal. And when I, again, think about the formula that I told you, that behavior is equal to motivation plus ability plus prompt. It's literally, I know it's simple, but it's not easy. Is the reason so many of us struggle. It is the reason, and I've shared this a million times, it is the reason that only 8% of people who set a goal on January 1st are going to achieve it. So how are you going to be in that 8%? How are you going to stop yourself from being part of the 92% who every single year are disappointed, who get to the end of the year and haven't achieved the thing that you wanted to achieve? How are you going to rebuild your self-trust? How are you going to trust yourself this year? So remember the formula: behavior is equal to motivation, ability, plus prompt. And then real quick, I'll give you one more tip, because I love to talk about habits. If there's something else, if I was to take the habits, if you're trying to create a habit when it comes to the goals that you have, something else to think about when it comes to creating habits is this, is that what wires in habits is a few things. Number one, it is how it makes you feel. Emotions wire in your habits. Emotions wire in your habits. And remember as well that the language of the subconscious mind is feeling. And so what you want to do is to make yourself feel good. And again, as I said, if you're trying to create a habit for something that you think you should want, something that you're not really passionate about, it's going to be challenging. But the formula, again, from BJ Fogg, is this for creating a habit, wiring in a habit, is literally as simple as ABC. What does that mean? So your anchor is that prompt that I talked about. So you need to have some cue, some trigger, some prompt for you to do your behavior. So whatever your behavior is, you need to have something that reminds you that, oh, it's time for you to do the thing, whatever that looks like. So like I said, there are many ways that you can do that. It might be a time of day. It might be a reminder on your phone. It might be a sticky, whatever it is, have some reminder in your daily life, in your day-to-day that you're going to see that reminds you to do that thing. B is do the behavior. Do whatever it is, go to the gym, put the money in the bank, do the transfer, whatever the behavior is. So A, got your anchor, which is your prompt. B, do the behavior. And here's the other thing, y'all. The minute you think about it, the minute you start to negotiate with yourself about doing the behavior, it's game over. You've lost. You've already introduced resistance. You've introduced friction. You don't want to think. One of the best books that I read on this is from Mel Robbins, The 5-Second Rule. Give yourself 5 seconds and then do the thing, right? So that's A. B, do the behavior. And then C, this is important. This is really important. Celebrate yourself. So every single time that you honor your commitment to yourself, you're putting a deposit into your self-trust bank. Celebrate that. Make note of it. You want to tell your brain, hey, I just did something. You want your brain to fire off dopamine, which is the feel good. Because remember, habits wire in because of emotion, because of feeling good. So when it comes to wiring in habits, A, B, C. You want your anchor, do the behavior, don't negotiate with yourself, then celebrate yourself in some way. And I'm not talking about, oh, I'll buy myself a pair of shoes next week. No. In the moment. Like you almost want to think about it like if you have ever had a dog or I guess a little child, with your dog specifically, when the dog does the thing, when you're training your dog and you train your dog sit, the minute the dog sits, you give the dog the treat. You don't give them the treat next week because you want the dog to associate immediately the behavior they just did with, oh, I got a treat. Oh, this must be good. Oh, I must do this again next time. You're no different. So celebrate yourself in that moment, not next week, not I'm going to buy myself. In that moment, you want to celebrate yourself in some way, whether it literally is just mentally like, oh, I just did that. Like I talk to myself all the time. I am the baddest so-and-so on the planet when I'm talking to myself. So how do you celebrate? That's up to you. You might fist pump, you might, I don't know, slap yourself, whatever it is. But celebrate because that helps you to wire in the habit because what does it do? It releases dopamine, which makes you feel good. And remember, wiring in your habits is all about making your subconscious mind feel good, which wires it in and makes you want to do it again. So that would be my suggestion to you, is for this year, go back to your goals. Look at what your goals are, and then look at what are the habits that you need to create to actually achieve your goals this year. Because how you're going to get over the finish line December 31st and feel proud of yourself and have built self-trust is through habits. Y'all, it is always my pleasure. I am so grateful for each and every one of you. And as I always say, you are worthy to be, to do, to have whatever it is your heart desires.